And so, I mean, that's what happened. I did aerospace mechanical. I loved it. I turned down SpaceX and Boeing, which people are like, why? But SpaceX was still blowing up rockets at the time. Like, they had no successful rocket launch. And I was like, I can't go to that. Like, they're probably going to lose funding and 750,000 views when I had like nobody. And then I think I got like 40,000 followers.
That's amazing.
And yeah, I think it just, don't be a perfectionist, post it, show up as your full self. And if you're actually providing value added content, it'll start showing up.
Everyone, David Bombal coming to you from Black Hat with a very, very special guest. Caitlin, great to have you on the show.
So happy to be here. I was so excited to see you when we got here.
Yeah, exactly. It was fantastic to see you. And you are killing it on Instagram, TikTok, and other platforms. So well done.
Thank you. I could say the same about you. It's been amazing.
1.2 million on Instagram now?
Yeah.
And TikTok?
TikTok, I'm at 500,000.
That's amazing.
I kind of gave up on TikTok like 2 years ago. I'm not going to lie.
Why is that?
Well, I loved it, and then I worked for them, and then I stopped loving it.
Big shout out to Brilliant for sponsoring this video. One of the most important skills you need to develop in today's uncertain world of AI, where everything seems to change every day and everything advances at breakneck speed, is critical thinking. If you really want to think better and understand the underlying AI tools that you'll be using daily and want to solve problems with real clarity across any subject, you should try Brilliant. It's not just about facts, it's about transforming how your brain thinks. With Brilliant, you learn by doing. You go through interactive lessons and solve problems. They have 2 courses that you'll be interested in going through, their logic course as well as their How AI Works course. In these courses, you'll work through puzzles and build up intuition, and you'll see how complex subjects become more accessible. It's a really powerful way to learn. Doesn't matter if the topic is math, science, or programming, or even AI, you learn to be a better critical thinker. Do that over and over again, and you become a better problem solver. Give your mind its daily workout with these challenges and puzzles from Brilliant. So if you want to try everything that Brilliant has to offer, go to brilliant.org/David Bombal. You'll also get 20% off an annual premium subscription using my link. I believe that education can change our lives. We'll learn something new every day, and you'll be amazed how quickly you can pick up new knowledge and new skills.
You mean you actually work for TikTok?
Yeah, so I actually got a job at TikTok from my TikTok.
Okay, you got to tell us that story.
Yeah. So I started only on TikTok, and the reason why I was called Cybersecurity Girl was because I was like mortified that people that I worked with were going to find out that I was on it. And I was like a director at like one of the largest law firms in the world at the time, and I specifically in data privacy. So, which is even more ironic that I'm on TikTok, because originally I was telling people, don't go on TikTok, and then when they moved and they said, hey, we're partnering with Oracle, we're going to be US based now, I'm like, okay, now I can go on it. And it was during COVID, and I was like, I really want to make this platform to educate the public on like what cybersecurity is and demystify what a career looks like, and which we'll talk about later because I love how we talk about career. And then also like get more women into cyber and STEM fields. I was an aerospace engineer, and there was 5 of us, and I was like, okay, I want to like inspire the next generation. And unfortunately at that point, or fortunately, the next generation was on TikTok. And I decided I'm going to just do only on TikTok, no one else. My name was never tied to it. It was just Cybersecurity Girl. And I was like, I'm going to post 3 times a day. And if it doesn't go anywhere after a year, I'm done. Like
3 times a day?
3 times a day.
That is commitment.
It is, but people don't realize I didn't have like a family. Like that was my life. So I would work, and then I was like, we couldn't do anything. It was COVID. So I was like, okay, I have, hours of time at this point. I would cook a healthy meal, and then I'd like do research, and not all of them were like talking videos. They were like trending audio. So it was like, the 8-second videos that don't take that long to edit. And then it just blew up. But so they found me and they were asking me, hey, what do you want to speak? And I was like, no, and we couldn't. It was at RSA like in 2020 or 2021. And it never worked out. And then I was wanting to change roles, and I applied to a privacy role at TikTok, and I got it. I went through like 4 interviews. I got the privacy role. I was really excited. I messaged the person that originally reached out to me about speaking, and I'm like, hey, by the way, like really excited. I'm going to head over to TikTok. She's like, absolutely no way. Like you have to work for us, our team first. And she ended up completely creating a role for me, which was a global lead of cybersecurity advocacy and culture, which just meant that I was in charge of all the training for TikTok globally.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Internally. So training for cybersecurity globally. And then I also was in charge of advocating for TikTok externally. So that was the part that I was unclear about. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to advocate for TikTok. That was when everyone hated TikTok and we were, lobbying on the Hill, like the PR team kept reaching out to me. And basically my job was anytime there was anything about TikTok in the news across the globe, Australia, Singapore, the UK was destroying us. And it was anytime they talked about cybersecurity, my job was to go talk to the engineers, see if it was a valid argument or what was going on, then come back with a report within 24 hours or less, because, news moves fast, and tell them exactly what happened, write a thing up that they could use. But then at the end of the day, every time it was just destroyed by, we couldn't say stuff because of lawyers and PR. And so then we ended up at that point just giving cookie cutter responses to everything. And it was just very frustrating. And I didn't even have enough time to do all the training for TikTok, which was honestly the reason why I was going there and why I was most excited. So I absolutely love and admire that platform. I think it is a huge force for good. I obviously think there's negatives about it, but they used to say they inspire creativity and bring joy. And I really do believe that. I mean, it completely changed the trajectory of my life because I only started on TikTok. So what platform did you start on at the beginning?
YouTube.
Yeah. So it's like if you have, there's a big spot in your heart for YouTube, right?
Of course, of course. That's how you started,
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of, and then I ended up working for them for a year. And then I was like, it's done. I'm going to just do my own thing. And that's when I quit and started my own company. So
that's amazing. I mean, so you got to give us a bit of your story because you went from aerospace engineer, and now cyber, and between there was privacy, right?
Yeah. So it was. My story is crazy. I loved math and science as a kid, and my parents were like, "You should consider engineering." And in my head, I'm like, "Absolutely not. That is fully a man's job. I'm not doing engineering." And my dad's like, "You should do mechanical." And I'm like, "That is literally a car mechanic." In my head, I just thought of a dirty car mechanic. Not because anyone told me, it just that's what I assumed. I don't know. I just didn't see anything different. So I went to school as an elementary education major. I wanted to be an elementary school teacher. And I went for 2 or 3 months, and then I was convinced, actually, we're going to get the long story. So I was told, I was a cheerleader in college, and I was told that the easiest gen ed class, the standard mandatory classes you have to take when you're a freshman. So the easiest science class that you could take was the intro to engineering. And it just went through all the different engineering courses. And so my other cheerleader friend was like, you have to convince them that you're really interested in engineering in order to get in, because it's always what the athletes take because it's the easiest class and it's probably already full. So I went into it being like, I'm going to convince shit out of this person. I'm gonna be the most convincing person that I'm interested in engineering. Well, I didn't realize that my freshman advisor was also the advisor for the mechanical engineering school.
Oh, that's funny.
Had no idea. And she was like, "You're really interested?" And she got really excited because I'm obviously a woman. And she switched my majors and I had no idea. She put me on the mechanical engineering track. And I did such a good job of convincing her. Halfway through the semester, I go to my friend, I'm like, "Why did you say this class was easy?" And she's like, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, "It's so hard. This is not an easy gen ed class." And she's like, "What teacher do you have?" And I told her, she's like, "That's not the class I was talking about." And it turns out I went back to my counselor. She's like, "Oh, I thought you said you were interested in mechanical engineering. So I put you in the intro to mechanical engineering track and I switched your track." And I was like, "Oh, what?" And at that point, we were already in. I was like, "It is interesting. I really like this. My parents would love it." And I actually got a scholarship because I wrote an essay about how I accidentally fell into engineering.
That's hilarious.
And so when I switched into engineering, I actually unfortunately lost part of my scholarship because my scholarship was based on the school I got into. So I decided to apply to other schools just to see. I didn't want to leave, but I ended up going to USC for aerospace mechanical engineering and stayed there and got my master's in it. Loved it. I did an internship at GE. I worked in alternative energy, so all the board-mounted power devices. By the way, it was terrible at electrical engineering. Could not. If I can't see it, it's not happening. And ironically, now I'm in cyber. And then I did Chevron, and I worked in an oil refinery with steel-toed boots and a hard hat and coveralls.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I also...
You got to set up some photos of that.
Oh, I have some. It's pretty great. And then I also worked at Abbott Labs in supply chain pharmaceuticals. And I loved every bit of it. But after my master's, I was like, I love it, but can I see myself here in, more than 5 years? And I was like, I'm going to get bored at every single place. I was seeing guys at the oil refinery that had been working at the oil refinery doing the same thing for 60 years. And I was like, absolutely not. There's no way. And so my cousin actually went into consulting, and I was like, let me try consulting because you can try different things and then kind of figure out where you want to go. And when I was applying, one of the ladies at EY that was interviewing me was like, "Hey, would you be interested in cybersecurity?" And my immediate thought was, absolutely not. That's a man's job. I don't know. I had to take MATLAB in school, and it's not really coding, but it is coding. And terrible. I got C minuses in both my MATLAB classes. So in my head, I'm like, I'm not going to tell this lady that I basically almost failed MATLAB, but I'm going to say yes because, we do anything for the job. And I was like, sure, yeah, like sounds interesting. And then as we went through the interview process, I was talking to my parents about it. And like, I got, an SAP Accenture consulting job, Deloitte. But as I was talking to my parents, they're like, I think cybersecurity is like going to be big. Like it is going to be where it's at. And this was 12, 13 years ago. And I was intrigued. And so I said yes to the cybersecurity consulting, and I learned everything on the job. Don't code, by the way. And that was one of the reasons why I started my channel, because I was like, everyone thinks I'm coding. I'm terrible at coding and don't need to know how to code.
Everyone thinks you need to be a red teamer. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. And so, that's what happened. I did aerospace mechanical. I loved it. I turned down SpaceX and Boeing, which people are like, why? But SpaceX was still blowing up rockets at the time. Like they had no successful rocket launch. And I was like, I can't go to that. Like they're probably going to lose funding. And Boeing was government funded. And my dad had worked at a government funded company before. My dad actually worked at Boeing. He's like, it's really based on like who's in charge of the government. So it's kind of iffy. I also had a friend that worked there for like 3 years at the time, and she had never got like moved up. And I was like you can only move up if someone dies basically or leaves. And I didn't like that either. So yeah, there were so many opportunities, and I always was like, I can go back to it. And then sometimes I kind of miss it. I'm like, maybe I should go back to SpaceX or something.
No, I think what you're doing is doing great.
But I love it. Yeah. So that's, I fell into cyber, and that's why I was so passionate about telling people like, you don't need a cyber degree. You don't need to know how to code. Like I started in cyber transformation. So with EY, my first project was going up to Cisco, and we were helping them get ISO 27001 certified, which is a certification in, and you had to understand really every area of cyber in order to help them get certification. And then we went into more of a transformation role. So you went in to assess companies on, 20 different key cyber domains, asked them a bunch of questions, went and talked to every different team in cyber, and then really assessed them and said, hey, here's where you are. Here's where your competitors are. Here's how we can get you more mature in XYZ area. And so that really gave me a really solid baseline of all of the areas in cyber. And then I started realizing, okay, this is getting boring. We're doing the same assessment over and over again. Let me go to data privacy and it was data protection. Data privacy wasn't a thing.
I love this story. You do something, get bored, and then you jump into the next thing. I love that. Go on.
This is the story of my life. I realized my friends like, you just like being in an uncomfortable situation. I'm like, it's uncomfortable for you, but it's exciting for me.
Yeah, I like that.
Like I really enjoy it. Because I think most people like doing the same thing over and over again, but that sounds like my worst nightmare. Yeah. So I did data protection, and we were going and implementing data loss prevention tools like McAfee or McAfee. People say it differently.
Whatever.
McAfee.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's McAfee. And we were like running scans, and that was really interesting because we'd go into companies, we'd plug these machines in, and we'd run scans. We'd say like, if an email has, I don't know how long are credit card numbers, 16, 15 digits of numbers, scan it and flag it. And we'd go in and look to just make sure that people weren't like sending stuff out. Basically, if you look at, intellectual property, right? You have your crown jewels is what we'd like to call it, or your high value assets. And we'd go in and try to protect what was around those high value assets for companies and make sure that like no one got in. And then I went to privacy. I moved to London. And
you were in London 2 years, right?
Yeah, I was in London for 2 years, helping companies kind of start their GDPR compliance, and then into GDPR, like people started being like, it's not worth it. And then they started giving out fines, and then they're like, it's worth it. We need help. But privacy got really big. And then I came back to the US and then worked at the law firm. COVID hit. And I was like, why? I had climbed that corporate ladder, and I realized, what am I doing this for? I'm helping large companies. Like I want to be helping people, and no one knows what to do. And like, there's a bigger purpose in my life. And what am I doing? And yeah, I slowed down and I started realizing, and that's when I created Cybersecurity Girl.
What's the focus on all the content that you're creating?
Yeah, so there's 3 pillars that I always had. The first was get more women in STEM.
Yep.
Not just like, cyber, but STEM fields in general, because I wish I had someone I could see myself. I want people to see themselves in cyber. Get more people in cyber and demystify what cybersecurity was. Because when I started, they had said, in 2025, we're going to have 600,000 open jobs and no one's going to be able to fill them. So I'm like, all right, let's do this. And then the third was really to teach people how to be safe online, like your mom or your sister that, don't care about cyber. Like, how do we make them care? And honestly, that third pillar was a smaller pillar. It was not my main focus. My main focus was all about career at the beginning. And then it started turning into more. I
was going to say, a lot of the content is that now.
Yeah. A lot of my content is really just general awareness.
But it's so important today.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I feel like I have like a mission to like, no one's doing it. No one is, there's people doing it to an extent. Like there's amazing mommy protection kind of influencers that are like, here, protect your kids. And there's like, certain ones are on surveillance, but no one's really doing like kind of the general broad spectrum sweep. And I tell people all the time, like, I want to be an influencer. I'm like, please do it. Like, my voice is going to get annoying after a while. So you're probably already annoyed of it. I'm already annoyed of it.
Not at all. Come on.
Yeah. So,
but it's like you say, you need more voices and you reach different audiences. Like my audience might be different to yours, and different
stories.
Perspectives. Yeah, exactly.
And also, just it allowed. This sounds really weird, and we'll talk about this too. But it allowed me to be back in my feminine because I felt like I was grinding so much, and to be honest, I had a lot of like, not trauma, but like relationship drama and all that, and I was escaping my life with work. And I was grinding, and I was like, I'm going to prove myself, and I'm going to prove it to these people. And I started realizing I'm not proving it to anyone but myself.
Exactly.
And why do I need to prove it to myself that I belong here? And it wasn't until COVID. COVID was really, I know it was terrible for many people, and I totally get that, but it was a really big blessing for me because it really allowed me to slow down and listen to what like my heart wanted and what I needed to do. And being in that slowdown, it really allowed me to be back in my feminine and like realize what I'm missing. And it's actually come full circle of, I really truly believe that nothing in our life is wasted. So I always wanted to be a teacher. I actually used to go in high school to go teach local kids, like neurodivergent kids, math, because I loved math. I really wanted to be a teacher. Now I'm like, I am a teacher. Yeah. Like I literally get to be a teacher every day. And being able to like slow down allowed me to just like, I feel like fully be myself. I lived in like a box. And I think a lot of people think, oh, I have to act this one way. I have to be this one way to do it. And honestly, if you're doing that, then you're just like everyone else, and you're not going to get ahead in life. You're going to just continue to grind and
I love that.
Do your thing.
But if different.
Yeah, if you get to fully be yourself, whatever that looks like, and you come again, is your full self, you're unstoppable. Because I really I was a cheerleader, and I never said that when I did anything. I even did it professionally. I cheered for the LA Galaxy when I was in grad school, and my dad was like, "You're gonna have to quit because you're not gonna get any. Like, no one's gonna take you seriously." And in cyber, and I was like, you're right, no one will. And I quit. And I just feel like if I showed up as my full self, like now I get to be like bubbly and fun and like my full personality, and that's when you're unstoppable. And so, yeah, I just love being able to like tell people to like not fit in this box. Like you don't have to look the same. You get to embrace being different. And we actually need all the different people. I know that we talk about like red teaming and blue teaming, and I'm like, I'm a zero teaming, I don't know, purple teaming.
Nonsense. No, I mean, the point is you're teaching stuff that's so important to a wide audience. Yeah. It's like, do you know the demographics of your audience? Is it like a lot of younger people, or is it like...
It's even across the board. Like literally it's like 2020 on like my under 18 is like not, there's like 5%. And then it's like 23%, or I don't know. It's pretty even across the board with exact all the age range groups. And same... Actually, I have a more female audience. It's like 55 or 60% female.
That's amazing. For cyber, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I love it. I don't try to like hit a certain audience. I just try to hit like humans.
So I want to ask you, if I want to be influenced like you, just like someone watching, is the recipe to success 3 TikToks a day? Or
no.
What do I need to do?
Well, I think you have to not be a perfectionist. If you're on social, like short form, maybe YouTube, you can be a little bit more of a perfectionist. I know so many people that are like, oh, I made videos and then I don't post them because I'm scared or there's something wrong with it. I'm like, honestly, my best videos are the ones that I made a mistake in.
Good point.
My first viral video, I said, you know, have I been pwned?
Yep.
I said pond.
Yeah, a lot of people make that mistake.
I didn't know. I knew what pwned was, but I didn't know pwned was spelled like that. And I just knew how what the website was when I was first taught it. And so I was so mortified. I almost took it down, and my friend was like, Caitlin, it's getting to the people, and people are still doing it. And only certain groups know. And also like guerrilla marketing, like people say the wrong words all the time just to comment. Like I know many influencers that are like, oh, I say the wrong thing all the time just to like catch people's attention. So they stopped going on autopilot. So I kept it up, and it got me I think there was 750,000 views when I had nobody. And then I think I got 40,000 followers.
That's amazing.
And yeah, I think don't be a perfectionist, post it, show up as your full self. And if you're actually providing value added content, it'll start showing up.
But you got to be consistent.
I think you have to be. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think so.
Yeah.
I mean, if you post once every 3 weeks or whatever, you're not gonna get traction. You might, but it's much harder.
Right. And right now I only post once a day on Instagram. And there's so many things that I want to post. I just don't have the time. I'm working on figuring out who I need to hire and what I need to do.
Are you full time now doing social media?
But Yeah, but we have the Cyber Career Club, we have the newsletter, we have there's so much, and I do it all. I need to hire people.
I would advise you to.
Yeah.
That's
Save
my advice.
your life, game changer.
Do get people to do things that are better than you at that thing. Like Vincent behind the camera there is a million times better at videography, anything like this than I could ever do.
Does he edit it?
He does, but he's with other people that do the editing as well.
Yeah.
But he's a much better editor than I would ever be.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the advice is, if you want to scale, get someone to do a specific task that they're going to do it better than you. Get that person to do that task.
Yeah.
And focus on what only you can do.
Yeah.
You're the only person that can be on camera. So that's the thing that you need to do.
Or we can get other people to be on camera.
You could, but I mean, at the moment, you're the personality, right?
Yeah.
You're the person. They're showing up to see you.
Yeah.
And give the other tasks to other people.
Yeah, for sure. I know. I've tried to delegate out some of the scripts and stuff. It just doesn't.
Yeah, but editing, someone else could do. I mean, you got to decide.
Edit doesn't. Short form doesn't take long to edit.
That is a good point.
Yeah, and I do have people to do the editing, but honestly, they take a day or two to turn around, and sometimes I need to get it out that night. So
that is a good point.
But yeah, I'm working on it.
I think it's always going to be a tussle, right? What can you do better yourself? But yeah, I've learned to delegate.
Yeah, I've delegated the newsletter. I've delegated a lot of the career club. I mean, I still go in. I do office hours every week in the career club, answer people's questions, but I'm not running it every day.
Okay, career advice, because that was a big focus for you. It still is.
It still is. And I think I started Career Club literally a week and a half ago. It launched, and it's already has 160 members in it.
Oh, wow.
It's amazing. But my issue was, and I'm sure you get the same, everyone's like, what certification do I get?
Exactly right.
I feel like no offense, it's like a robot answer. What do I get? Why do I need to get a certification? I'm you actually don't need a certification. And also, what area do you want to get into?
Exactly.
There's so many areas. And I don't know about you, but I wouldn't be nowhere without my network. People.
You mean people? Yeah, for sure.
And I think everyone takes that for granted. Cybersecurity, yeah, I'm an extrovert, introvert. I know many people are just straight introverts. They don't really want to talk to people, but I'm telling you right now that you need to talk to people, and you need to have that network, and you need to have that community of people. Because if you're trying to operate in a silo and you're just studying by yourself, and you take the certification by yourself, and you're applying by yourself, you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You also need the soft skills, and the soft skills come when you talk to people.
Well, very valid.
Every executive I've talked to, they're we really want to hire these people, but they don't have the soft skills. They have, all the certifications, and, they know all the coding languages, but at the end of the day, they can't communicate. This career club is really about, it's like a club. It's we have office hours. So I wanted it to be a place where people land when they don't, they want to start and they don't know where to go. We can always recommend courses that they can pay for later. My worst fear is that people are going to take these, they're going to get extorted and take these $5,000, $10,000 boot camp courses that do nothing for them, which I've had many people in my career club take, and they're we've gotten nothing out of it. And, figure out which path that they're going to go on. We have a really in-depth 40-question AI-driven quiz that helps them understand what skills they have and what they would like to do, and kind of tells them, hey, you might want to consider data protection, or you might want to consider access management, or you might want to consider red teaming. And that helps. And then we also have obviously our weekly calls, and then we bring in experts every month that they can talk to and like network with. And then if they want to do a certification, then we have study groups for specific certifications that they can work together.
That's great.
And then on top of that, they can get the skills if they're like a data privacy person, they're like, hey, I really want to present. We had someone say he learned all the Raspberry Pi stuff, and he was like, hey, I want to teach the class how to do Raspberry Pi. And I'm like, great, we'll give out Raspberry Pis to the first, 5 people that, decide that they're going to press attend, and then we'll have a Raspberry Pi course, and you can put that on your LinkedIn saying that you taught a Raspberry Pi course. You're going to get skills on presenting. You're going to get, so it's being able to teach the soft skills outside of just try hack me or hack the box.
It's a problem, right? Because I think when people think of cyber, I don't know if you have the same experience, but a lot of my audience, it's red teaming, hacking, Mr. Robot type stuff, but cyber's much bigger than that.
Yeah.
And you say you don't code. Your videos aren't tutorials use Nmap or all this kind of stuff, right?
I had one that was using Nmap, but that was only because I had to do research myself and do it myself. I didn't remember how to do it.
But I mean, you're teaching other areas of cyber that are just as important.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many non-technical areas. I mean, even security education and awareness now. I'm if you're everything, even incident response.
Yep.
Lawyers are needed for all the GRC stuff
yep.
now.
Yep.
We have all the HIPAA stuff. So even if you have any health background, because there's so many career changers too that are in there. So, I mean, I love it.
Okay. Talk to your younger self. If you were starting today, what would you do? You wouldn't go work on an oil rig maybe, but talk to you. What would you do?
If I were starting cybersecurity today, again, I would try to figure out what area I wanted to get into. I would narrow it down to like 2. And then I would start networking. I would start finding people on LinkedIn that were in the same job, like adding them, not reaching out to them yet, but just adding them so they can start seeing my feed. I'd start taking or researching or like being really involved in any of the news around that specific area. So for example, privacy, any privacy news, or AI is in cyber now. Like you can't have cyber without AI. So like there's so many people. I'm like, AI is where cybersecurity was 10 years ago. This is a huge wide open field. So if you're interested in AI, I would start like writing things on LinkedIn about AI. Like start advocating for yourself. If you don't show up for yourself, no one's going to know who you are. And people are really, I was one of them. I thought LinkedIn was so cringy. I hated LinkedIn. To be honest, it's still uncomfortable for me to post.
Yeah.
It is so important. It is like the most underrated platform, I think. Even if you posted, I always challenge people, we have a LinkedIn challenge in our community. Post one time a day. Once a day, your community is going to start seeing it. Your connections are going to start seeing it. You're going to start popping up. Then it really gives you the ability to start reaching out to people because they actually know who you are at that point. They feel like they know you, even if you've never met them. And so I would go the networking route for sure, because that's what I did in college. I got pretty much every single job I applied to because every career fair, I went to the career fair. I talked to every single person. I got their cards. I made notes in the back of their cards being like, they have a daughter, they have a dog, the dog's name is this. And I'd reach out to them halfway through the semester and I'd be like, how are you doing? What's going on? And I would get jobs from every company. I'm not even joking. It's all, you want to work with people that you like. People will hire you. Even if you may not have the skill, they'll still hire you because they'd rather work with you than someone that they don't know.
The point is that you can teach technical skills.
Oh, yeah. Well, everything's on the job.
Yeah, exactly.
And most of the stuff, unless you're talking about like Qualys or Splunk or certain things that are pretty much in every, company, all the skills that you're going to have to, are that you're going to need, you're going to have to learn on the job because everyone has different tech stacks. As long as you have a love of learning and you're curious and you're willing to do the hard work the first couple of years, like I was working crazy hours. I was still working crazy hours up until COVID. And then I was like, slow down.
And now when you're doing social media, isn't that just as much work? Or you?
Yeah, but I love it.
Exactly. And it's for yourself, right?
Yeah. It's for building the brand. And then to me also, like, I used to see women and I'm like, oh, they're only doing it, they're really successful, but they don't have a family or kids. And I can't see myself there. And that was one of the things, this is getting really personal, but I was like, okay, climb the corporate ladder. I'm like about to turn, I don't know when I was in 2021, but about to turn 30, I think. And I was like, I'm making the money, but I always thought I was going to be like a young mom. Like I love kids. I used to tell my parents I wanted 1 million babies. Like I love kids. And I'm like, this is not where I thought I was going to be. And I don't think this is where I need to be. And so being able to build your own business and then also have like somewhat of a work-life balance where I can, actually have time to go on dates and not be like going to another state or country the next week was like a huge priority to me. And being able to build my own business and hopefully eventually make, passive income and help as many people. It's so rewarding. And it also allows me to have the life that I want.
Caitlin, I want to thank you so much for sharing and for inspiring other people as well. Thanks so much.
Thank you. I love it.